if you grew up in the 90s even a little bit, Earthworm Jim wasn't just a game. It was one of those top games. But let's talk about the guy who made it. Let's talk about Doug TenNepal. He is turned into a crazy person. And I want to go over all of his controversies that led him into doing this. Because he's gone full AI bro. And I don't know how you make it from being one of the most beloved creators of all time to AI bro who just wants to drink AI slop all the time. Back in the 90s, this dude's art had grit. So did the games. This game was a run and gun platformer that was literally just cartoon come to life, and you could play it. And that was just not a thing that was out around then. Earthworm Jim was something to a lot of kids. You know, I loved Earthworm Jim. Everybody I knew loved Earthworm Jim. You know how My Little Pony was for a little bit, where that was the thing? It was kind of a little bit that, but it was all over the place. It was video games, it was television, it was toys, it was merchandise, it was everything. And I mean, even in good old year 2026, people still talk about it like it's the best platformer of the 90s. And platforming was great. And having it be handcrafted was just a little cherry on top. Now you guys see him pretty often, but it was different back then. You had to do a lot of work. Now to the 2000s, he wasn't really doing much other than working on a lot of various comics like Iron West, Black Cherry, Flink, Monsterwood, Ghostopolis. He was just doing a lot of that kind of stuff. So in 2009, he got a job at Breitbart where he was doing a lot of big Hollywood pulp culture politics section from January to October 2009, writing about 30 articles. So I kind of just wanted to go over it just to see where he's at. This is where you guys can kind of see the beginning of the fall. He's talking excessively about politics. He sounds like he has issues with things like climate change, having issues with Democrats, talking about being Republican is the new punk, which by the way, it's never been punk. Talking about his Christian beliefs. And the problem with it is that it's kind of linked to far-right associations, and people have called him white nationalist, unabashed anti-Semites. Now, you would, like, if you're an artist, you would not want to be aligned this way, especially if you're still working. And if you have a good job, he could have just kept that to himself. I wouldn't have written it in Breitbart, of all places. But in 2011, he did an interview with Digital Lit. So he had a comic called Rat Fist around 2011. And one of the comics had a page. I cannot get to the page, so I cannot show you what it was. I don't know if I could show it without him trying to take it down, but it's not the point of the comment. It's the comment section, and the comment section is gone, but I do have a gist of what happened. So there was a person on there named 21st Century, a non-American liberal who brought up questions of liberal politics, questioning TenNepal's seemingly own conservative ones. And you know how that goes. So this is kind of how it went. 21st. Do you believe that every country save for yours is some repressive autocracy devoid of freedom? Doug. Just compared to ours, we kick ass. 21st Century. Christianity is 78.5%, and he goes, yeah, again, we kick ass. 21st says, you know, if you didn't have the will and die right now, your wife would inherit your stuff. And Doug says, neither would my gardener. I shouldn't have to marry him to work out all those details. I don't have a problem with anyone visiting anyone in the hospital, but we both know that this isn't about hospital visits. 21st, what argument do you specifically have against letting two adult men who love each other marry? Doug says, the same argument I have against letting a man take a dump in the ladies' room, and the office appropriate for one sex isn't automatically appropriate for another, no matter how much a man loves taking a dump in the ladies' room. 21st says, lastly, I'm at least thankful that you're not equating gays to PDFs and zoophiles. That's more respectable than some. And Doug says, give me some time, I'll see what I can do. You realize this conversation is going to be used by your people to justify a permanent boycott of my work. They would probably use this argument to justify me not being able to visit anyone in any hospital while they're at it. This isn't about laws and marriage. It's about cultural witch hunts. There are a lot worse things than not being able to marry your same sex. 21st says, right now, some states are, in fact, fighting to remove rights from people. Isn't that right? Doug goes, America has thousands of people's rights taken away every day. Take a number. Now, this post was actually put on the website gaygamer.net back in 2011. So that was a while ago. I could just show you so you guys can just see that it exists. As you can see here, let me turn off my model real quick so you guys can see. Right here, this is the conversation between the two of them. So if you guys want to pause and read it yourself, this is only the real evidence that this conversation existed because the website itself doesn't actually have it on there. So now since then, he has still been wilding on Twitter. I think, okay, so everyone has said it, but I'm going to say it too. Twitter is the world's soapbox. People can get up there and say whatever the fuck they want and everyone can reply or just ignore it. And sometimes when you step up on that soapbox, you don't know when to come down. And he definitely doesn't know when to come down. So apparently he is under fire in 2017 for transphobic comments. This is the original thread right here. Not thread, but the original article where it basically goes over that he had misgendered a Kotaku article writer because they wrote an article about him. It's this article right here that says Earthworm Jim's mean-spirited satire doesn't hold up by Heather Alexandra. Basically, she goes over the article and she said, well, in her article, she basically says that she didn't really enjoy it, and that's the reason why she doesn't really enjoy this kind of gameplay, and that it kind of sucks if you really go back and play it, and it's too punishing, and it doesn't reward the player at the end, and it's a lot of, I don't like this game design, I don't like this vertical stuff. It's an overall negative, right? And not everyone is going to have her opinion, and that's fine. I liked Earthworm Jim just fine, but you know, a lot of people just didn't feel it's held up to its hype over the years, like a lot of other games do. So let's go over these tweets. I was very lucky to be able to find the originals because this is from like a long ass time. This is from a minute ago. This is 2017, y'all. So right here, Heather says, "It's your gal Heather with the Earthworm Jim take that you didn't know you wanted today, but here enjoy maybe, I don't know, gosh," and then she links it. And his response right here is, "Heather, you're a good man and entitled to your opinion. If you ever want to go into why we created it the way we did in the 90s, let's chat." Why would he do that? Why would he do that? He didn't have to do that. He chose that. And then here we go. "I predict at least one article blowing your reactions out of proportion, defaming you." And he goes, "I challenge trans gamer think to call or do whatever over Skype. His readers would value an open opinion over passive aggression." And then he linked somebody else and he goes, "He misgendered himself. If people ignore his madness to arbitrarily go after my sanity, they impugn themselves." This dude's such a fucking ugh. I'm sorry. And he goes, "Do you think it's not going to affect or hurt the feeling of that journalist?" And he goes, "I use the correct pronoun out of respect." Oh, sorry, you can't see. Oh, okay, you can't see. It says, "Do you think it was not going to offend or hurt the feelings of that journalist?" He goes, "I used the correct pronouns out of respect." And then here's another one. "Okay, so we're obviously going to disagree here about a lot, but to keep it simple, what's the harm in using the correct pronouns that people prefer?" And he goes, "There's no harm in what they call themselves. There's harm in demanding everyone in the world endorse it. That's how adulthood works." And then somebody else says, "If someone can choose to transition in spite of being called insane as much or much worse, you could at least consider to respect how difficult." And then there's like, I guess it gets cut off. He goes, "I would hope and assume my Heather of opinion doesn't keep him up at night." Why would you do that? And someone goes, "But I mean, how can anyone in good conscience call someone a man if they no longer look like it? Why is the obsession with the genitals?" And he goes, "In my view, gender doesn't come from looks. It's not about genitals. It's about not letting mobs decide how I think. So does that mean if I call you a woman, it's okay? Can I call you she and it's okay and you won't get offended?" I'm sure he would totally get offended. He would totally get offended if I start treating him like a woman. And here's another one. "I'm a huge fan, Mr. TenNepal, but you calling her Heather while simultaneously using him is in itself a contradictum and passive-aggressive. The ability to change one name is a fact, but no one can change their sex. So he was also, I mean, this has just been an ongoing thing with him, but he is also involved in what's called Comicsgate, which is an online movement that emerged in like 2017, 2018, shortly right after this article was probably posted, that was primarily targeting Marvel and DC Comics. It was widely described as like an alt-right harassment campaign aimed at opposing diversity, progressivism, and woke elements in superhero comics. Now, Doug was one of the most prominent sympathetic figures because he did get a lot of online harassment during this time because he was just posting his opinions in places where they probably shouldn't be posted. So he was on their podcasts. They promoted his crowdfundings through their channels and benefited from their support during projects like Bigfoot Bill. But right now, he's completely disavowed it on X, calling Comicsgate a toxic grift and a PDF movement full of no-talent hacks. He claimed he left because of moral issues like offensive behavior from leaders and insists he gave fans more value than anyone. Now, everyone has been saying it's just damage control, and let's read it together. This is his post, kind of disavowing it. He goes, most people leave CG when they actually see what it is. A Reese's peanut butter cup commercial. You got your AIDS and my hepatitis. I don't even know what that fucking means. It looks like a pro-indie, anti-woke comic movement from the outside, but you get in and you see it's just a YouTube show that undermines creatives, conservatives, and serious business practices. I don't have a big problem with internet groups and YouTube channels. CG is one of a kind, D is another, Mike Miller's Bible Studies is another, Eric July, Nick Rekieta, so long as you treat them like a YouTube show instead of a movement. Listen, nobody here was thinking Nick Rekieta was a fucking movement, okay? He's a YouTube lawyer that fucking drinks on stream and talks about anime and then got in trouble for a little bit and now he's back doing the same shit. No one was here being like he's a movement, okay? I don't even know the other ones. But I didn't want to go on another show. I already had a YouTube channel to go on camera and goof around. Where I got it wrong was I thought there was a conservative comics movement. There was and isn't. There wasn't and isn't. But that's not true. That's what Comicsgate was. The whole anti-woke thing. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember those SJW videos of the mid-2016 era stuff. Like, that stuff was totally real. Anyone claiming to be a big conservative comics, we're going to make comics great again, are wrong. I don't promote fake movements, so I wouldn't platform anyone who is associated with CG, even when they're friends of mine, or Ripaverse. False movements are for suckers, and it's confusing to the audience that thinks something is happening beyond YouTube enthusiasm. Because I wanted to go over this post too, because he did benefit from Comicsgate. Because the thing is because of the things that he's been saying online for so long about people's livelihoods and all that shit he's been saying, all that homophobic and transphobic stuff and all that stuff he's been saying, people don't want to work with his ass no more. They don't. He, in the comic industry, he's done. He has to crowdfund everything now. So let's see with Ethan Van Sky. I don't even know how to say his name. Let's see what Ethan has to say. Well, CG has undeniably supported creators like TenNepal by providing them a platform to gain visibility outside of the traditional mainstream outlets that, according to Doug himself, could no longer support him. This had led to successful crowdfunding campaigns for many independent comics, including TenNepal's own Bigfoot Bill, directly challenges cancel culture and the mainstream narrative of the comics biz. Comicsgate isn't just about being anti-woke, it's about advocating for stories where political and social agendas don't overshadow the plot and character development. More than just a conservative comics movement, it is about fostering an environment where storytelling isn't dictated by monolithic left-wing oh my god, like these people, I'll be honest with you, they're like a little bit exhausting, but anyway. While there might be individuals within CG who prioritize YouTube drama over business, I can't think of any offhand, most of us just used to is to promote the work of indie creators, discuss the industry practices, and engage with our audience in meaningful ways. Your claim that there isn't a conservative comic movement might reflect your personal experience or perspective, but it contrasts with the reaction Comicscapes has received from woke media in and outside comics. Movements like CG or even Rippaverse, I don't even know what that is, while controversial, has indeed created spaces for alternate voices and ideas in comics. They've brought attention to the issues of censorship, forced diversity, and the narrative control in mainstream comics, which many believe has led to a shift in how stories are told and who gets to tell them. It's fair to say that Comicscape, like every movement, has its issues, and not everyone within it will meet your standards for professionalism or seriousness. However, laboring the effort as a false movement is dismissive of its genuine efforts by many to carve out a niche where they feel that their voices are heard. Without Comicscape, there isn't much out there for a controversial critic of the LGBTQ movement in comics like yourself. We were glad to get you back on your feet when you desperately needed us. So now we're into the 2020s with this man. He started to go on more podcasts because people just don't want to listen to this guy unless you're like a piece of shit, to be honest. So there was this podcast called Audio Mullet. And here's the article right here where it says Interplay silent on Earthworm Jim developers' racist, homophobic remarks. It says update. TenNepal and television confirm he is an unpaid consultant on Earthworm Jim 4, which I don't even think that's coming out now. I think he's tainted it. And it says right here also, and previously on number 55 at 11:05, where at the suggestion of his co-host that there was some well-meaning individuals involved in the BML protests, but then he replied, well, that Hitler was well-meaning. I don't know. I don't want to hear about your intentions. He was just exterminating rats in quotations. I don't even know why he would say that and think that he could still keep getting jobs, because the thing is like when you are, okay, let me just pause right here. Like he refers to, when he was talking about this, his co-host responded that he was referring to liberal Christians who were just trying to make everyone feel better. Like the thing is that there's also a level of emotional maturity and emotional intelligence that I feel that he lacks at the age that he's at, which is 59. He is a little bit too old to have no emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is what people are moving towards. All of this like stuff where people are being assholes for no reason, like sure, yes, people are going to be assholes for no reason no matter what, but I would never ruin my career just to be an asshole. I think that at some point when you've gone too far in a certain direction, I feel that it starts to affect your emotional intelligence, because we're all just people, and sometimes I can understand what he means by he's getting harassed, but at the same time, he stood on the soapbox and decided to say what he said. He chose that for himself. And then on episode 54 of these podcasts, he says the black culture and the black communities are not doing well. They too are still the victim of their own ignorance, and maybe their own will for ignorance or fatherlessness or whatever. So it's not all Whitey's problem. The thing is now he's speaking from privilege, and as a person of color, I don't know why you would say that. Like the thing is he can afford to look away. I'm sure that he's looking away from all this ICE stuff and all this stuff happening with Latinos and ICE at the same time. I'm sure that he's doing that. And there is systematic racism that is causing the perpetual problems that enforce more of those issues. For example, like the thing is if I want to meet somebody in the middle, even if they're being stupid, I understand what he was also saying, but at the same time, he is saying it in the most openly racist way that he can possibly say it. There's no way to take it back. There's no way to rearrange the words to make it less shitty sounding. And it just perpetuates more racism. Black men, for example, are incarcerated more than white men for similar offenses. That is 100% true. Saying what he said also perpetuates harmful stereotypes and portrays black people as inherently deficient or self-sabotaging. And that's also not true. Because many of these issues were created because of racism. Things like Jim Crow laws, redlining. Well, redlining when I'm talking about like people, not like drawing, and other policies. Because he didn't offer any data, he just came off as flippant and inflammatory, in my opinion, not constructive. He was just like, well, I'm a white person and I'm not gonna do anything because I'm not a part of the problem. Yeah, okay, old man. And he has a problem with women, because in episode 55, in response to a reader letter criticizing his use of a homophobic slur, he defended the use of the slur mentioned, as well as an additional racist slur and a derogatory word for women, attesting that their use was no different than using words like goddamn or thinking insults about other people. So now that he's blacklisted across the board, you'd think that maybe he'd like blink his eyes and open them up and wake the fuck up for a second. But nah, we know your boy Doug ain't gonna do that shit. He's just gonna keep on doing the same shit. So apparently he did have a YouTube channel that had, all I'm seeing is, this is all I'm seeing. He's just a political grifter now. Now we're at the AI stuff, where we gotta talk about it. He was on X, and I saw him because, you know my video about John Fountain, who had his daughter's art stolen and some asshole putting into AI? Well, this is similar, but he was talking to, like, they were talking to each other through Twitter. Oh, I love this. I just saw this comment where someone said he is the new Shad Diversity, which he is. He's very low-hanging fruit. I have talked about Shad Diversity a lot on this channel. Maybe I'll link one of his videos that I've done on him, because I didn't even know any of this till I started coming into it 2 days ago. Like, Doug TenNepal, like, all you do is just open your hand and there it is. The fruit's there. You just open your hand and it's already in your hand. It's like, it's just easy to take, because this guy thinks that he's floated down from fucking heaven and he landed on the earth like he's Jesus, and he gave us Earthworm Jim, but he probably hasn't fucking drawn in forever. I don't even know if he still draws. I asked him if he still draws, but it looks like all he does now is do AI. So here we go. This drama, TenNepal started his drama in about the early mid-January. Around the 15th, he starts his stupid ass defense of AI. Right here it says, chefs use microwaves, artists use AI. Stupid as fuck. Oh shit, I kind of forgot that I actually comment on this. He has a huge problem with artists. He is the art villain. He doesn't care about artists. He is like, I don't even like to talk about boomers in this way, because a lot of the boomers that I know are not this way. Like, my parents aren't this way. There is a I got mine, you're never gonna get yours about him. He made his money. He's doing his own thing. He doesn't give a shit if anything happens to any artist underneath him. He doesn't care about art longevity. He got his money. He got his shit from Earthworm Jim and all those games that he made that people loved and cared about. And now he's here acting like a huge asshole. Like, look at this comment. Someone goes, it's time for AI tools to die out. And he goes, only if digital tools go first. And he's like, AI is just a new genre. I don't think he understands that. He's too wild in his own brain. And then there was this. Some of you guys may have heard about this. So San Diego Comic-Con was going to allow AI to be shown at their thing as an artist table, but not allowed to be purchased. And the backlash was so significant that they actually had to step back from that announcement. And this fucking person, Doug, I swear to God, Doug is mad that they banned AI generated images. Now, his argument is that because they allow other people's IP and selling of those as long as it's marked, this initial rule makes no sense, because why would it be a problem to sell a piece just because of the tool that's used on it? So he decided to have a conniption fit over on Twitter, and he goes, there isn't a single woke movement San Diego Comic-Con doesn't fall for. They wouldn't let us attend without proof of COVID vaccinations. Now they arbitrarily disallow AI, but allow the most immoral adult gore where kids can see it. There is no reason to censor AI, and they allow a vocal protectionist minority to silence the work of many artists and the AI many creators use in their comics, movies, and video games will be plastered all over their floor. Because it said January 14th, which was like almost last week, or the end of last week or whatever, that they're no longer going to allow it. And he was crying about it. I swear to God, this man cries more than a fucking baby. And it says this prompted a backlash from his comments from artists who are anti-AI, though TenNepal was quick to dismiss any criticism of the stance, citing AI as simply a tool to be used, reminiscing on a time when people criticized any computer art because hand-drawn was supposed to be the only real art out there. The thing is he's doing the thing of the old. In my time, I could tell you for a fact, there was just a little bit of issues with people being worried about Adobe and digital art. There's a little bit of worry, just a little bit. Now people don't give a shit because the same skills transfer over. Ain't no draw who's using AI even picking up a pencil. There's this video here where he clearly doesn't understand art. The thing is when it comes to his conversations on art, I'm not going to play it because he probably has a video of it on his channel and he will so 100% use it to, try to take my video down. But there is such a thing as money laundering. And on top of that, there's also, when people talk about high art, performance art is an art. The idea of playing no music for something, but having all of the instruments there and having the music sheet sitting in front of you, but nothing is being played, that is a performance art. I feel like you don't know what art is because you don't understand there's different forms of it. And just because it's not your preference there's performance art, there's social art, there's so many different kinds of artwork. Those artworks are there to serve a purpose or have a meaning. Not all art is just the type of art that you just do and draw with your hands. There's different types of things. That's why AI can't be art, because it's just machine generated. I don't even know why he's so offended. If he doesn't care about art, he just wants to do politics. Just do politics, bro. That's your calling. Go do that. Stop talking about art because clearly nobody wants you here. And in this video, he brings up the Duchamp urinal. So let me explain to you a little bit about that thing there. He did that on risk. He was trying to make a statement. That's what I would call social art. It's a social experiment. He was putting his entire reputation on the line to try something different. Because the thing is because of what he did, he moved art from how well you can paint to intellectual, whereas what does it mean? Or how does it affect society by seeing this piece? It's all about the concept, the idea behind the stuff. And yes, he was a troll. He was definitely a troll, but he was a troll that wanted to try something. But the thing is if this hadn't worked in his favor, he would have been ruined as an artist. His reputation would have been in the mud. But this was so profound and such a social experiment. This is a social piece. You cannot compare it to AI generated bullshit, because that's bullshit. Maybe if someone was doing something unique with that, but they're not. They're not telling a story. They're just showing. It's I just want to see pretty pictures. I don't really care how good it is. I don't care about the story. I don't care about anything. They just want pretty graphics. That's all they want. Let me take the Lord of the Rings trailer and redo it with AI and spend $500 just so I could post on the internet so I can get some clout. It's not doing anything. You're not showing me anything. I want to be just like Makoto Shinkai, and I want to do exactly what he does, so I'm going to make the Indian version of that. And hopefully the story is good by me haphazardly putting these clips together. These people aren't telling stories. They're not doing anything about movements. They're not doing anything socially. They're not doing anything with these AI works. They're just generating them. People are like, "Oh, look at my short film." It'll literally be no cohesiveness, no story behind it. It'll just be clips of something happening. Nothing we know as the audience, just something is happening. Something is happening, and I don't care because there's nobody to connect to because there's no person there. And he's talking about fear, but the thing is it's more than fear. It's more than that. I think that he has drank too much of his own sauce, and he can't see further than his own eyes, because the thing is you have to see like what is going to happen in the future with this thing, because like the thing is I'm not showing his video, but I'm going through his points. This is what started his anger stuff. But by allowing AI images and videos and plots and stories to integrate with society, you're taking the mean. Do you know what that means? It means you're taking the average and you're just putting it out there. These are predict the thing, predict the image, predict the script, predict the video. They're only doing what they think comes next, okay? Sure, it's good for stupid videos of like that are basically memes, because memes don't have a story, they're just bullshit. But you're accepting mediocre as the norm when you accept AI images and AI videos and AI books. It's about replacing entire workforces with AI images that are subpar, that are not on the quality that they should be. You're accepting shitty words being misshapen and fingers and hands and eyes and everything looking the same. Have you not looked at AI images, Doug? Have you not looked at them? Or are you too much into the AI muck that you think that it's actually different? There's nothing that's being told that's new with AI. It's regurgitated. And yes, humans do that on their own. But the thing is that when an AI does it, there's less. It's just less. And I feel that you know that, but you can't admit it because you're literally like, "Oh, AI is so good to me," right? And I'm not saying anyone should harass anybody for using it. But at the same time, I don't think people should be using it. They're going to use it regardless, but I don't think they should be using it. And I'm going to say something if they think that they're better than handmade artists. If they think that they're better than fucking Disney. If it's shed diversity levels of his Gooner Princess Mononoke is better than Miyazaki. I feel like you're in that camp. You think that these little shitty images are better than the ones that came before that are of humanity. Art is inherently something that comes from you, that comes up through you. Sure, some of it is done for work. And I know that you had a thing where you didn't want to do art for other people. You wanted to do it for yourself. Okay? But by you supporting AI, you're saying, well, we don't want you to do it for yourself now. No one's going to pay for you anymore because you're not fast enough. You're not good enough. You're just use AI and do it now. We don't want people that are artists anymore. That's what you're saying when you support AI. We don't want artists. We want generated slop. That's why I'm not sure if you even draw anymore. I would actually have to see you actually like do a video where you draw from start to finish to even for me to believe you that you still draw art. Because I believe that you're so pessimistic and nasty that I just believe that something changed in you when you became political. I can't even believe that you would look at another artist who's so much younger than you, 20 years, 30 years younger than you, and go, yeah, I hope you don't become an artist. I think instead of maybe telling people they should use AI, maybe you should tell artists they need to work on their fundamentals. Or give actual art advice for cartooning. There's so many people who don't do cartooning. So many people who don't offer advice on cartooning. You could be that person, but you just want to be a political person that jerks it to AI images. If you're listening to this, Doug, I don't believe, based on your video that you did on the 23rd, that you have confidence in artists. You're reveling in artists losing jobs, artists losing opportunities, and telling them just to use AI where their skills are weakest, instead of procuring those skills and bettering themselves. Because when people know that something is made with AI, they know that you didn't spend time or money or effort on it now. People think that it's like getting it out of the trash and then trying to resell it. People don't want that. Gamers don't want it. So he has this 6-second clip, and we're going to look at the clip.
I will save the earth, and it will be groovy!
Well, that was it. So his post reads, the gatekeepers of animation maintain control of content, keeping everyday animators and artists from being able to tell their stories because they didn't save $50 million for a budget. I slam this together in Grok Imagine. Just as a fun demonstration, the Hollywood model is dead because they refuse to tell stories most people want to see. That empire died long before AI came along, so AI can't be blamed for stealing jobs. Yes, it can, and yes, it has been. From traditional animation, the studios lost the audience all by themselves with no villain to blame other than their own inability to make compelling stories and characters. That's not true. This dude just doesn't watch TV anymore. Now is the best time for indies. Animators who don't want to tell stories that a studio makes them tell. Have you guys seen Digital Circus? Have you guys seen, well, I don't even remember the cyberpunk thing that they came out with that's really good? There is animations out there. People put there's this person that I watch. They do shorts, and I'm happy watching the animatics. I will watch a whole thing based on animatics. I don't need it to be AI animated. But anyway, it says here, you're finally liberated from the prohibited high cost and the censorship of being an in-betweener cog. The indie artist is happiest because they have to take responsibility for their own journey and have no gatekeepers to blame anymore. Go tell your story. That's what you were put here to do. Shut the fuck up, bro. But the thing is by you fawning over AI and saying all this incorrect information, you're literally telling somebody that their own skills are not enough, that they need to use AI. So someone says that this is dog shit, and he goes, sounds like me watching the last 35 years of CG animation. And he goes, man, I hate CG animation, proceeds to generate something that looks CG animation. This motherfucker. And someone here says, using AI, let alone Grok, on all platforms to silence haters is so cringe that I time traveled back to 1993. Oh, some of these are good though. Bit of an ironic statement considering 35 years is about how long you've been rendered irrelevant in any media sphere. Shit is so ass. And of course the comments we see are people being like talking about gatekeeping, because AI bros love to talk about how things are being gatekept from people, but those things were never a problem. Like, do you guys know Aaron Blaze? He's that guy that does, he did Brother Bear and does Disney animation. He did like a 1 minute or 2 minute short film for Procreate Dreams. All of the tools are already at your disposal. You can make anything you want. You don't need a budget, just your 2 hands and maybe a program. You don't even need AI. And you know what you need to get it? You need credits. You need money. You need money to get AI images to work. They're not free. They're not free. Do you know how much midjourney costs a month? What was it? When I tested it 2 years ago, they charged me $89 for the whole year, but let me see it in tiny, tiny, itty bitty baby text that it was $8 a month. Why didn't you just say it's not free, motherfucker? It's not free. You're acting like people got these budgets. The amount of credits that you would have. Let's think about this for a second. The amount of money that you would have to pay an AI company to use their image services to make a two hour or an hour and a half animated film. That would be crazy. That would be fucking insane money, because they show trailers being, what is it, $500 fucking dollars? A trailer is $500. That's an animated trailer. Why would a poor artist like myself want to pay for an animated trailer? I would sooner animate it my fucking self. I would sooner do that. I feel like they're not seeing the money part of the conversation. Sure, you can get free credits from whatever for a certain amount of whatever. But do you know how many generations you have to make? What was it? The Coca-Cola video had to have 70,000 fucking generations to make that little 1 minute, a minute and a half little commercial. Just because, and half the stuff that you generate is not going to be good right away. The thing that he generated was dog shit. And then he has another post here where he says, I've always combined my classic art training with my self-taught cartooning. Using AI is just something new, and it's no different than any of the other art that I've been doing my whole life. But these digital artists who can't even render a simple image really shouldn't be spending time crying about AI when they need to spend 2 years solid off the internet and drawing every day. Maybe if you were actually trying to be a teacher instead of a dingus, you would know that drawing every day without actually a plan on how to get better actually doesn't fucking do anything. Not only are you giving bad art advice, but you're giving bad advice overall. You don't talk about the money stakes about like using AI images or how it's going to make your shit look like ass. You can't even, the thing is the part about the anti-AI movement that I like is that it's critical of how AI is being used. These guys want to fawn over AI doing everything, but they have no eye for the problems when you look at AI stuff. Because I mentioned it in another video 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. The stuff that we see being generated with AI would never make it to television. It would never be anywhere close to a commercial because all of that shit looks weird. It is weird. It's ugly. It's fucked up. Like through all of his nonsense and all of his backlash, actually shitting on artists, he has one thing here that talks about him learning something from AI. He could have started the conversation with this. It says right here, just to show you how powerful Grok is as an art tool, this is a training session. I started last year asking it to help me paint like John Singer Sargent. I know that would be impossible, but I wanted to get Grok to quickly grasp what I consider to be good art. I've been using it as well as real life instruction to help set up my palette, paint portraits in oils that are realistic yet gestural, but the AI tools have been incredible. I capture colors from photos and I ask what exact percentages of each tube of paint is required, and it can mix even according to brand. I use Old Holland oils and the colors would be slightly different than using Winsor or Newton, for example. While I still experiment with AI creating AI-mations of JPEGs, I don't want artists to miss out on this incredible tool for instruction, but that is not what you started with. You started with shitting on artists. You started with shitting on digital artists. You started with shitting on traditional artists. You started with shitting on any artist who'd been an artist within the last 30 fucking years. You can't shit on all these artists and then expect us to listen to you. It gives me pointers on how to draw human anatomy, and I ask it to identify bones and muscles so I can memorize the structure of humans and animal bodies. It will also reference published works by artists on their own workflow to the point that I've learned years of painting instructions in weeks. Like I asked it about what master painter Richard Schmidt said about training the eyes to see versus Monet's writing. This is the thing. He could have, I don't need this anymore. He could have done this in the beginning. He could have started this conversation with this and then showed us his little grok thing. Because I am, even though I'm anti-AI, I am open to listening to people who have good ideas. If you have a good idea, feel free to tell us. But if your idea comes with 15 years of you being an asshole, no one's going to listen to you. Your words don't matter. You made it so that your words don't matter. Let's as an example, let's talk about Jazza for just a second. If Jazza did a video where he said he was going to work on more oil painting and he used AI this way, even though I'm saying before his news video, I would say, you know what? I kind of understand why he would do that. I think some artists who are curious about oil painting and maybe a little bit scared would maybe get interested in it and then maybe try it. It's all about the context of how you show things. Because when the conversation revolves around AI, it's always about replacing people. It's always about being forced to use it instead of your own skills. It's not about improving anything. It's about replacing everything. Like, oh, I don't understand if you took an image, for example, let's say you took an image, you didn't know how to light it, or you didn't know how to draw what this certain clothing looks on a person, and you're like, hey, what does this sweatshirt look like on this man? And then you give it the image and then it shows you, and you're like, oh, now I understand. You know what I mean? Like I get that people would be doing that. I'm not saying that you should do it. I'm just saying that I understand why people would do it. But I'm saying, like, all of this art stuff it came with the context of, well, we're going to sacrifice all the artists so we can get this tool, this machine that will literally replace them, and then we're going to ask them to use it instead of drawing and learning how to make a story and learning about color theory and all that stuff. No. Don't learn any of that shit. Just use AI. Oh, you want to know something? Just use AI. Don't bother looking any deeper than that. It might give you misinformation, but don't worry about that. I understand that he's using it in a way that is helping him learn something, but it's hard for us to take you serious, Doug, when all you've done is harm the artists around you by talking the way you do. No one can take you seriously when you sit there and talk shit about artists. Maybe you need to take a deeper look inside yourself. You have no empathy and you have no emotional intelligence. Who wants to listen to a racist talk about AI? Nobody. Who wants to hear a homophobic, transphobic person talk about AI? Nobody. Nobody wants to hear you. Anyway, I know I've gone on very long, and this is my story about Doug TenNepal, the artist who ruined his own career and is in love with AI. And tell me what you guys think in the comments. I had a very serious topic last week. I wanted to try something different because I saw this on my timeline. So, hey Doug, and if you're in the comments, well, maybe I'll pin you. Maybe I'll pin your comment. All right, I'll see you guys later. Take care. Oh, also, I made it to 15K. Put a little like celebration emoji if you made it all the way to this end after I already said I was gonna leave. Bye.